everyone. Welcome to another episode of Dude Knits. It's your dude, James, coming to you back from Green Bay, Wisconsin. It is Monday, October 11th, 2021. I do have some notes for once, so if you see me looking down over to the left, that's why. It is currently in the evening. It's not my usual time, but I wanted to get something recorded so that I can get it edited, so that I can get it up. So I'm still trying to stick to my every 2 weeks because I enjoy doing this and I really like it. And I'm actually starting to like some of the editing things as well, which I never thought I would say. So yeah, thanks for coming back, everyone. I appreciate it. Honestly, all the love I've been getting lately has just been overwhelming and amazing and something I really, really needed, especially the last couple weeks. So thank you. Grab your drink, whatever that is. I said that really strange. I kind of said it like Chevy Rell, who I love. If you are not watching Chevy Rell's Stuff, I think it's called. Amazing podcast. Go check her out. I love watching it every single time. She has so much cool stuff. I really want to check out her stuff room. But yeah, grab whatever you're drinking. Come join me for another episode of Dude Knits. I'm not sure if I'll put sound in there, if it'll just be awkwardly me drinking some tea. I am drinking some hot cinnamon spicy black tea from Harney & Sons. And I got this as part of a package. I'm not sure... I apologize. I'm not sure which package. It either came... There's only 3 options, really. It either came from Chicken Lady Fiber Arts, who I think I talked about that in the last podcast. It might have come from Nancy from Trilogy Yarns, or it came from the amazing folks at Around the Table Yarns, who I'm going to talk about in this episode, too. But it's been a long day of me talking to people, and so the hot tea is wonderful. I add honey to my tea because I just like that, and it's delicious. So I will be drinking it. Oh, there's a spoon that you'll probably hear. There's a spoon that you heard. I'll be drinking it throughout the episode, so I hope it doesn't bother anybody. My shirt says... I'll bring the dance moves. This was part of a bachelorette party that I was at for my cousin, actually. And so we all wore red shirts that said what we were bringing. And I think she wore a white shirt that says, I'll bring the bride. Something like that. It was fun, but it is just a nice comfy after work t-shirt. So I enjoy that. I'm not wearing any mitts because I had to turn off the air conditioning. So I don't want to put anything on, honestly. It's actually trying to get a little bit colder outside, but my apartment is always so warm. I'm on the 2nd floor, and it just radiates heat. I can't have my door open because then you would hear all the traffic and stuff going by. So I just had the air conditioning on, and I turned it off, and I don't want to wear any mitts, but I have lots of them to show you. So first of all, I wanted to give a shout out to 2 folks. I can't tell who commented first because I looked at it on my phone. Maybe if I looked at it on the computer, I could tell. But I know that 2 of the first people to comment on my last video were Chicken Lady Fiber Art. So thank you, Lynn. She is amazing. I've really enjoyed starting to get to know her. And also my good friend Miriam. So if you saw her, feel free to give her a comment as well. I really appreciate all her support. She's the one that's like... when's your next episode coming out? James, it's been how long? When's the next episode coming out? She's super fun. She's great. She doesn't know that I'm going to share this story, so hope it's okay, Miriam. Sorry. She was in the bathroom, and her partner heard voices, and her partner heard male voices, and he was like, "What is going on?" And she's like, "You don't got to worry about it. I'm just watching James's new podcast." So I thought that was hilarious. It was great. I loved it. She's one of those people that, just make me smile, that really support me. I feel like even if we didn't work in the same area, that I would still know her. I would still go out and see her for brunch or catch up and see how things are going. So we all need to keep those people in our lives that, we can support and also feel supported by. yeah, so huge shout out to them. I'm going to try and do that. I know some people, like, that's their thing, like watching the podcast and be one of the first comments. And so I'm going to give people a shout out from now on that happen to comment first. So if that's something that you want to do, feel free to turn on the notification below. Yeah, and even if you don't, I try and reply to all my comments. I really enjoy getting to know people. That's why I started doing this, is to get to know folks more. And so, yeah, I'll continue to do that. If you're not the first, I do periodically check. I get a big kick out of people commenting. So if you're ever on the fence, like, does he want to hear from another person? Yes. Yes, he does, because I'm he and he does. I do. I really enjoy it. You don't have to, no pressure, all that good stuff. But I really do enjoy it. So shout out to them for commenting. Thank you. And thank you, everybody, for commenting and, communicating with me, commenting on not only my YouTube videos, but also my Instagram. If you want to follow, that's DudeKnits89 on Instagram. I tend to post mostly my knits. Maybe you'll occasionally get Artemis. She'll sneak in there every once in a while, or maybe if I'm doing something else. But feel free to comment, to follow me on there if you want to. You don't have to, but I enjoy the Instagram community a lot. I've never been big into Twitter. I don't really go on Facebook nowadays, every once in a while, but Instagram is my main jam. I've heard TikTok is pretty legit, but I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I'll follow the reels, or I'll watch the YouTube compilations of TikToks, but I've yet to download it. So that's not on the agenda, but that's what we've got. I'm also on Ravelry if you want to follow. It's DudeKnits89 on Ravelry. I need to edit my Ravelry, and we've got something in the works for November, so I'm going to talk to you all about that, which I'm pretty excited about, but that'll come up. So how have my last 2 weeks been? How have I been? It's kind of the same as it was before, a roller coaster of ups and downs, which I think a lot of people can relate to. A lot of people have a lot going on in their lives in general. I'm no different than anybody else. We've had a couple changes at my work. We've had someone that is near and dear to me. She retired, which I'm super happy for her. She gets to kind of live out her dreams, live out her adventures, and she's got some great plans. And another really good friend of mine took a new position. It was a great opportunity for her. And so I'm sad for me, but I can separate that, and I can be happy for my friends who happen to also be my coworkers. So I'm lucky enough to have been in that situation where, for the most part, I really enjoy everybody that I get to work with day in and day out. We work in a stressful position, and so having those people that you can laugh with, that ask about your knitting every once in a while if you don't bring it up, I just appreciate a lot, and I can't say that enough. And so the work might be difficult and hard sometimes, but the people make it worth it. And so these two people left, and I value them so much. My one friend who retired is actually planning some trips abroad because they have family that lives in the UK, and so they're going to go visit in the next couple weeks. And so I got to do something fun where I gave her $100, 100 American dollars, and I said, hey, no pressure. This wasn't like a retirement gift. That was separate. We did other things for that. But I said, while you're traveling, if you're looking for something to do one day and you wanted to visit some yarn stores, if you want, I think it would be really cool if you wanted to visit and see if you could get any, unique yarn from those stores. I didn't ask her for a specific weight. I didn't ask for anything else. I said, maybe just ask somebody there, is this yarn unique to this area? And so, yeah, and if they come back and they didn't have time to do it, it's no big deal. It's all good. But they're going to spend a couple weeks over there, and they're going to, I think, not only be in London, but they're also going to go, I think, to, I don't know if they're going to visit Ireland or Scotland or not, but they're going to travel around for a little bit. So I was really excited for them, and I'm like, hey, I don't want to impede on any of your plans, but if you have a day where you're just looking for something to do, that would be fun, I think. So I gave him $100, and I know that's probably not going to go very far, but maybe I could get 2 skeins out of that. We'll see. And I'd be over the moon. And if it doesn't happen, that's okay. I'm totally fine with it. I think it's something fun to ask people to do, and then secretly, because I don't know that she's ever going to watch this, I might make her something with it then when she brings it back, because that would be fun for me and for her. And so I'm really enjoying that. But yeah, it's been hard saying goodbye, new phases of life. And I'm trying to remember to do some self-care, to really think about that. I know I talked about that last week, but that's been my big focus. And it's kind of my mini rant for the day. Not that I need to have a rant, because I don't know that that has the best connotation. But it's my mini rant. That's what I'm calling it for now. And I spend a lot of time asking myself, instead of, do you value yourself? Because I do. I have fairly high self-esteem. I'm asking myself, how do you value yourself? In the little moments every single day, in the big moments where you plan vacations, how are you doing that? And realizing that life doesn't just happen to me. Sure, things happen, but we talked about last time, what's your sphere of control? And I have a lot more control over my life than, and I'm fortunate to say that, than I think I do sometimes. I can plan out a fun Spotify soundtrack to listen to on the way to or from work that helps with my stress or that just motivates me. I can schedule time to go to lunch and make that a priority. I can do a lot of things for myself, but how am I doing that? And what are some of the assumptions that I'm making? I talked last week about assuming I have to do everything on my own, when that doesn't have to be my assumption. And I'm trying to catch myself throughout the day when I'm thinking these thoughts to kind of increase my own value. I say a lot, you can't pour from an empty cup. If you have a cup and it's empty, not like this one, which is not empty, you can't pour from an empty cup, meaning if you have no more energy to give, if you haven't taken care of yourself, which I know things happen to all of us, and so saying you haven't taken care of yourself doesn't negate what's going on in the world, what's going on in our lives, but if we haven't been doing what we can do to take care of ourselves, eventually, if you keep trying to pour from an empty cup, it's going to crack or it's going to break. And I don't want that to happen with myself. So I want to value myself and I want to take the time. And I've been doing that. And I've been really thankful for the people in my life that have been encouraging that, from coworkers to family to friends. I've had coworkers that have reached out and just said, hey, I value you. You've said you're stressed. Don't forget to take care of yourself. And they've been reminding me of those things. And I appreciate it, because I want to be the support when they need something at the same time. And so I've been doing that. I took off this past Friday. Unfortunately, I had a friend whose plans got canceled. And so she was in a really sad place because she couldn't do the things she wanted to do. And she'd been planning this for weeks and weeks, months probably. And I said, I don't have any plans. I'm trying to spend a relaxing day on Saturday. Do you want to join me? We can get coffee, get pedicures, go see a movie, get dinner. Just do some things to focus on yourself, because she had the vacation anyways, and she was really thankful, and we had a great time. It was a really, really good time this past weekend. I really spent some time enjoying myself. Got a lot of knitting done. We're going to talk about that. But yeah, I've just been reminding myself that you need to take care of you. You can't do anything else. You can't help other people if you can't help yourself as much as you can. I know that we all have limitations, and I don't want to say that everything's in your control, because shit's not. Ooh, I didn't mean to say that. But I did mean to say that. Shit's not always in your control. But what is? What is the thing you can control? And that helps my own mindset. Instead of getting frustrated and angry and playing with knitting needles, what can I do? So one of the things I can do is I can think about my knitting and take the pressure off, and just do that. And so that's what I've done. One of the ways I've taken the pressure off is I'm working on the Opus Shawl, which I've shown several times. I'm not going to pull it out this time, but I've been working on that for several weeks. I've really enjoyed it for several reasons, but I got to the realization, and I'm super excited about the Stephen West Shawlography mystery knit along, the MCAL. For those of you that don't know, MCAL stands for Mystery Knit Along. And so it, I said that weird. But it was starting. I was super excited about that. And I was putting all this pressure on myself. Like, I got to finish this by the time it starts. I got to finish it. And I don't have to finish it. And I've kind of made peace with that I'm not, because it ends tomorrow. And I'm only part of the way done with my 12th repeat of the pattern. And there's basically a 13th repeat. It's a paid for pattern, so I'm not going to go too far into detail, but it's the largest part of the shawl. Each row is now taking me 20 minutes, something like that. And so I'm not going to finish it, and I'm okay with that. I've accepted that, and I need to not ruin the knit. You know, I know some shawls get long and we get frustrated at the end, but I don't want to do that with this one. You know, I have loved knitting this throughout the entire experience. I have gone most Saturdays to a coffee shop called Kavarna Coffee in Green Bay. Amazing. If you're ever in the area or visiting or going to a Packer game or an expo or something, check it out. It's great. I love the owner. I like the people that work there. Have all been super nice and supportive. And I realized that when I finish this, I have to bring it in because they've all seen the progression week after week. And this weekend when I went in with the mystery knit along I was working on instead, a lot of the people are like, where is it? Did you finish it? I thought you were going to wear it in. And so they're invested, which is really cool, really supportive of them. And every single time I've gone in, I've gotten a compliment from someone that's either said, hey, I love your colors, or it's so cool that you can do that you've picked it up. And I feel like I'm inspiring people, or I'm just kind of bringing knitting out into the world in general, but also as a man, but mostly just in general. Bringing knitting out, and people enjoy seeing that, you know, when you're crafting, and they can comment on it and stuff. And so I've really enjoyed it. So that's one of my highlights, and one of the things that'll push me to finish that one is being able to take it into that coffee shop and show folks and just wear it out. And I'm excited. It's amazing and gorgeous. That's the Opus Shawl by Max the Knitter. Feel free to look that up on Ravelry. I highly encourage folks to test it out. It's amazing. It's great. I'm super jealous of everybody that's finished because I'm really close, but I'm really obsessed with the Stephen West shawlography. And so that's what I'm going to go into next. And so I just want to put a caveat that I'm going to put a spoiler out there. I won't show people that don't want to see. So I will put a little tag down at the bottom. Okay, editing me, put it right here. Telling you where to skip ahead to so you don't see the shawl or hear me talk about it or stuff like that. I'm not going to show it yet. I'll do another pause, but that's just for everybody that doesn't want to see or hear anything about it. So hopefully you've left by now because I'm going to talk about it. I won't bring it out. I've loved it so far. You know, it's intimidating. You know, Stephen West is a big name and he's out there, and I watched his live and I watched some of his videos, and like, he's very approachable. It's really cool to see some of his techniques and what he's been doing, and I've been able to keep up so far. There's 4 sections to the shawlography. I've finished 2 of the sections, and it's Monday night, and I'm gonna finish the 3rd one tonight because I only have a little bit left to go. And then the 4th section I think is going to take a little longer. There's some repeatable things that take a little bit of time for me anyways. And so I'll bring that to my Zoom knitting on Tuesday and Wednesday and work on that there. Probably below the camera because I don't know that everybody wants to see. I don't know. But that's what my plan. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm pretty excited about that. I did need to go get a new bag. And so I'll show the bag first. I'm a firm supporter of small businesses, but I kind of realized I needed a bag at the last minute, and I also really like Joann's. So I got a bag from Joann's, and it was on a super good sale because originally it's $40, and I paid like $23. So it's a great bag. I am going to show the Stephen West knit along now. So if you don't want to see that, you know where to skip ahead to. I'm not going to show it again because editing. But you open the bag like this, and there's these metallic buttons that come off, and there's this inside section. You can see where the yarn's feeding from with 3 subdividers, 1, 2, 3, and then a big section back here that has 2 skeins of yarn. And they have the little plastic thingy right there that you can zip closed. So my big thing when I started this was yarn management. It was driving me nuts having the balls everywhere. And, you know, if you have some like cake holders, or I don't know the right way to say this, they call them cake condoms. If you have those, maybe things would go better for you when it's bouncing and moving around. But I didn't have those, so I bought this and I've loved it. It's great. It's got a ton of pockets every which way. I don't know what it's called. It was at Joann's, and it's more of like a duffel concept, and I like the color too. It's a gray color. So I'm going to show the mystery knit along now. And so this is where I'm at. Oh, look at that. Isn't that great? I love my colors, which you can see when I stretch it out like this. The back side, you can really see the colors. So my colors, I have a yellow, which is my A color. And then I have the really dark gray, which is tungsten, is framing everything. The lighter gray, which is making the little V's here, that is nickel. The silver is, shoot, I can't remember. My Ravelry page is updated if y'all want to see this. I did update it. And then I also have a green, which is a little bit difficult to see unless you stretch it out. Still kind of difficult to see. There's the green on the back side. So yeah, those are my colors. I love it. It's been really fun so far. I've never done German short rows before. So there's German short rows in this, and I haven't done this much I-cord stuff ever. So there's definitely a lot of I-cord stuff in here, but I'm loving it. I'm loving every single second of it. I'm really enjoying knitting it. Just going to town. Knitting too much, my hands are getting a little sore. I've had to wear compression gloves at night sometimes because of all the knitting. Oopsie boopsie. Yikes, that's not good. So that's where that's at. So I love it. I'm gonna probably be, like I said, tonight, the third section is done. That's just the fourth section. If I get the fourth section done early, my plan is to go back to the Opus, because again, that is something I really do want to do. Once I get the Opus done, the mystery knit along is going to get huge soon. Like, Steven kind of gave a warning last week, and he was like, be prepared. It's going to get big. And it's also probably going to have brioche, because that's the name of his new puppy. And it's just going to have brioche, which I know there's going to be alternatives, but I'm too stubborn to do the alternatives. I'm going to end up doing the brioche, and it's going to take me forever. It'll be beautiful, that I believe, but it'll take me forever. So we'll see what happens with it, what other projects I start. The other thing that I bought but haven't cast on, and Kim from Around the Table Yarns, Kimber Knits, is going to yell at me when she sees this, but I really do want to cast on a Celtic Quilt 4, which is another, I don't know technically if it's a mystery knit along. Every month a new square comes out, and so you have a month to finish the square. And so I bought that, and so I have it, and so I just haven't started it. I'm going to start it. That's the plan. I'm definitely going to start it. I just don't know when, because I also need to finish my sister's baby blanket, because she's getting closer to being due, and I haven't done anything with it. It's still a little over halfway, but I haven't touched it, so I need to do that. I need to do that relatively soon, but we'll get there. It'll happen. I'm not too worried about it, especially now that it's getting colder. And when I need breaks from knitting, doing just a row or two in crochet is really nice break. So we'll see. That's coming up. Definitely something in the works. So here we go with that. Yeah, so I don't have a ton of other whips to show, but I really want to thank a couple of folks, and that leads me into kind of my next subject. And so, like I said, the community has been amazing. On Tuesday nights, I have joined the Frivolous and the Frugals Zoom Knit Nights, hosted by the Frivolous Miss Dawn, who is amazing. I really enjoyed getting to know her. I haven't seen her in person in a little while. I'm going to try and go to the... I don't know if I can go to that. My sister's baby shower is coming up. So I'm trying to go to like the open knit nights in person at my local yarn shop. And so, yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. But I really want to thank her for hosting that. There's been so many amazing people that I have met through that, and I'm so thankful. Just a great time, and I love meeting people, and they're such good enablers. not that I need help enabling myself buying more yarn. I'm waiting on 2 packages right now. Oopsie. But that's coming up, and I'm excited about that. And I want to thank them, and I also want to thank Around the Table Yarns. They did send me some yarn. I'm not going to show it today. I'm going to wait until the next podcast, which will be closer to November. Then I'll show it, and I'll have more details of my yarn. But I'm excited because they have the ladies there, especially, you know, Kim, Nikki, Agatha, all you wonderful, wonderful folks. And that's Kim from Around the Table Yarns, Nikki from Knick Knack Knits, who has some amazing bags, which I definitely need to get. And Miriam, if you're watching this, no, you cannot have too many bags. I don't know why you would ask that question. But yeah, I definitely need to get some of Nikki's bags. Her fabric is amazing, and I have no see-through bags. So if I ever do go to a Packer game and want to bring my knitting, I'm going to need a see-through bag. So definitely will be ordering from Nikki. I'm not sure when. Got to space it out. But yeah, Nikki from Knick Knack Knits, everybody for encouraging me. You know, we were talking about when my yarniversary is. That's what I'm calling it. My anniversary of when I started knitting and getting into the fiber arts. And I first started it. I don't have an exact date because I can just kind of barely remember picking up some straight needles and yarn from Walmart, probably, if I'm honest with y'all. I probably think and I'm just going to say I started in November of 2019. So that's when I say I first started. I got really big into it when the pandemic hit, that it really became a stress relief that time. But yeah, I started getting into it before then. And so, yeah, my anniversary is coming up. It's been 2 years, and I'm so thankful for knitting. And to celebrate, the folks over at the Zoom Knit Nights have convinced me to start my first Cal. And so here's the announcement. I am starting my first knit along. I've got some homework to do. I've never hosted a knit along. I've got to figure out Ravelry because I have a username, but I don't think I have a group page. I tried to start one, and I just need to figure out how to do it. I'm sure it's not difficult. I am totally confident that I'm capable of figuring it out. I just need to spend the time doing it. And so I'll make a group page. I'll start my first couple threads, and we will start a knit along. It's not going to start until after the Stephen West shawlography is done. So probably closer to the middle of November, which if you're in the US, that's probably going to be close to the Thanksgiving holiday. Congratulations if you're in Canada for your Canadian Thanksgiving. I hope you all had a great time with family if you celebrate, all that good stuff. And so and today is, when I've recorded this, Indigenous Peoples Day. So congratulations. At my job, they had some flyers out, and they were encouraging people to put down signs of what does Indigenous Peoples Day mean to you. And I wrote that it means changing a perspective of how we think, talk about, and act towards Indigenous people. And it also means acceptance. And I think acceptance and sight is what I also wrote, being visible and acknowledging what's happened in the past and acknowledging the history and the parts we all had to play in that moving forward. And so, yeah, happy Indigenous Peoples Day, even though you probably won't see it on the actual day. But yeah, I wanted to put that out there. And so thankful for people. I'm going to start this knit along, and the pattern we're doing is we're going to do around the corners, that shawl. And so that is, let me check my notes. That is by Stephanie Lovatin, Lotv. I can't read my own writing. It's going to be on the screen. I'm going to edit this and put it on the screen. So yeah, feel free to get that pattern if you want. I'll have more details, like I said, in the next episode. It's likely going to go until the end of the year. Just thinking, so there's not too much pressure on folks, or close to the end of the year, because I want to make sure people have enough time. It is... it's beautiful. If you haven't seen Around the Corner shawl, it looks just amazing. And I already got my yarn, and so I'll show you that next time. A little bit of a teaser. I'm such a dork. I admit it. I love it. And so it is I'm saying a 6 or a 5 color fade. So you can use like mini skeins in it in a fade set that you might have with one main color. As the majority of the shawl. So check it out, take a look at it. They look amazing. I'm super excited to be hosting my first knit along, and so and I'm excited to have another shawl. And so I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Probably keep it for myself. I thought about giving it away, but I'm like, no, just no. And I wear them at work occasionally, and I think the days I don't feel like wearing a super nice button up, I'll wear that with like a zip up or something, and then it's like the shawl just elevates everything. And so I'm really excited for that. Oh, and the mug that I have, this is from, oh, I can't remember, and it might be a good thing I don't say anyways. It's actually a really nice mug. It's the bigger size, but when I got it, it came like this, where it's all chipped up. Well, it's not chipped up. The writing's not there, because this is supposed to say, at the top it's supposed to say DPNs, and it's supposed to be crossed out. Then it's supposed to say 9-inch circulars, and it's crossed out. And then Magic Loop is supposed to be not crossed out in the center, because that's my favorite way to do socks. But it came like this, and both sides. That's writing's a little bit better, but you still can barely read it. And so I could have said something to the provider, but I never did. I really wanted a mug, and I wanted a knitting mug, and that's okay. I don't think it's anything they did. I'm assuming they went through a company or something, but the rest of their products look like that doesn't happen. So I might try ordering from them again, and if something happens, then say something. But it just looks like I've had it for a long time now, which is fine. I really don't care, and I don't want to take the hassle of messaging them. So it is what it is. But yeah, that's my first knit along. So that's going on, and that got me in the spirit of being thankful, and I wanted to just reminisce on my journey through knitting. And so I want to show you some of my FOs. I dug some of them out because it did get a little bit colder for a couple days. And so I dug out some of my winter knits. And so I'm just going to go through some of those if you all are interested. Yeah, and so that's what I did. So some of the first things I've ever done, and I have a collection of these, I did these washcloths. And so these are all, I think, with like red heart yarn. This is my grandma's favorite dishcloth. So they're acrylic washcloths. And I did them in fun colors, because when I first started knitting, I'm like, oh, fun. I think I did this, and I like woven all of the ends, and now I know the weave and Steven. I'm like, how much time did I spend weaving in ends? This nice packer color. I totally just carried the yarn for this one. And I still use them. There's nothing wrong with them. I mean, they're going to pill a little bit and probably not last as long as cotton, but it's a dishcloth. So I don't really care. So I still use them. Most of my cotton ones I've given away as gifts, actually, because everybody likes them. And I actually like the fabric of a crocheted dishcloth a little bit more than the knit ones. And so I don't really knit dishcloths anymore. I crochet them. I just really like the fabric I've created. Let's see some of the other things. So I did order from Ice Yarns maybe twice, and so I really wanted to try sock knitting in my journey. So the reason I smell this, well, I do like to smell yarn. I think it smells good a lot of the time. This, unfortunately, is beautiful colors. I mean, it looks great. I'm trying to remember if there's a colorway with this. It's from Ice Yarns. Hand dyed, 75 superwash, 25 polyamide. Not seeing a colorway. Made in Turkey. Yeah, I'm not seeing a colorway on this. Hand dyed sock yarn. It smells like a Sharpie black permanent marker. That's all I can smell. And it's got black coloring. And I'm like, did they use Sharpie to dye with this? If anybody knows why it smells like that, put it down below. I'd love to know from my dyer people out there. I don't know. I won't say I'll never get into dyeing, but dyeing is something I love that other people do, that I can buy and I can appreciate and show that appreciation monetarily. I'll probably get into spinning before I get into dyeing my own yarn. Oh, yes. But so this is Ice Yarn. So it was one of the first big bulk yarn orders I ever got. And I made some of my first ever socks. So these are some of my first socks with it. So it gives this lovely, really rainbow effect. Where's the light coming from? Oh, I don't know what I'm doing or why I'm saying it like that. That's a pretty good view of the fabric. That's pretty true to color. So it's got all the colors, and that came from this. So I really enjoyed that quite a lot. And so because it's Ice Yarn, you buy in bulk usually because the shipping to the US is quite a bit. So I think I have I can see them. I have 2 cakes over there. I have this that's not even caked up yet, and I have some more somewhere. So I have made 2 bigger socks, and then I made 2 shorties, and that's all I've made with it because I got other yarn that I wanted to play with, and so I need to go back and just make some more socks with it. I don't know that I would like this in a shawl or anything, especially because it smells. It doesn't smell after you wash it, and these are washed. Yeah, it doesn't smell after you wash it. But that's that yarn. Some of the first stuff I ever did. Oh, this is made of Lion brand Thick and Quick. It is one of my favorite scarves. Let's get the light to cooperate. It's not going to. There we go. Look at those colors. Kind of like a darker jewel tone. I love it. This is crocheted. And I wear it all the time. It is one of my favorite scarves. I actually made New Year's cards last year. And in it, I have a Snapchat of me at work one day. I wore this and I kept it on in the day. And I was smelling it like this. And I captioned it. I'm not sure you can get high off of yarn. But if you can, I do. So I love it. It's one of my favorite things I've ever made. And then I just have a box full of a ton of different whips. I went through a pretty big hat phase. So this is, I think, like a super or a jumbo. It's a number 6, I think, sized yarn. I just did like a modified Ross hat with this, but the problem is it's a little too stiff. So you put it on. How does that look, folks? You guys ever see the cone heads? I'm dating myself a little bit, but yeah, this is it's nice for the winter and the really cold days when you're like, I don't care what anybody's doing. This is what I'm gonna wear. I have several of these granny squares made of just a random acrylic that I got from somebody. They're beautiful. I made like 9 of them and stopped. I don't know what you do with 9 granny squares, you know, they're not that big, but some of my first mittens I ever made. Oh, you guys, this is so nostalgic. I screwed up and I purled when I should have knitted, so it looks like my mitten has a little ring. And they're like 2 different sizes, which is basically the history of me and mittens. 2 different sizes. I'm not sure how I do that almost every time. I'm sure I wouldn't now. I've had so much more experience. I hope I wouldn't do that now, but you never know. My hat knitting. This goes back to some lovely ice yarn. I think I was maybe going to give this to my brother. It's like nice dark greens. It's just a little too big, but it's a look. It's okay. I prefer more of the beanies. I got into a pretty big Christmas phase, and so this is reversed. So there are 2 hats. This is, you can't really see, it's not showing up true color. It's like an olive green and like a bright red. So olive green and a bright red. And basically like Christmas hats. I actually took these when we were doing a photo shoot. My family gave my parents family photos for a holiday gift last year, and so this is just a ribbed hat. It's a 2x2, yes, 2x2 ribbed hat. That's what these are. So I had a lot of fun making those. You can tell I got in the holiday season. I have no idea where this came from. Like this pooling, I love. And it was just a random, I think my coworker who got a new position, she had a friend whose grandma passed away and had a bunch of yarn in the basement, and she's just like, take it. I don't want to get rid of it. Like, I'm never going to use it. And so she took like several big totes, big totes of it, and she gave a lot of it to me. And so this had this really cool pooling effect. So I wore this during the holidays. Here's another. This is a different one. I have 2 of these. So I made 2 of those. I had another holiday hat, I'm pretty sure. Yep, here it is. Here's the other holiday hat. 2 different hats, and they pooled in different ways too. Isn't that cool? Well, if you like knitting, I think this is cool. So I had those. When I made one of my first Pom-Poms, I got one of those Clover Pom-Pom makers. I probably need to refasten it because it feels a little loose. I enjoy this a lot. I don't know what I did with this yarn. I used like 2 different yarns, and I shouldn't have because they're different. Like I feel like this has more wool in it, and this is like purely really soft. I think there might be like cotton or something in here. But I really liked the colors together. But you try and put it on, and the top one has like a lot less give. So it like squeezes your head too hard right here, and not hard enough right here. But it's a hat. Let's see. One more hat. This is when I first started playing around with color work. And I did a provisional cast on, which made this lovely. So I did blue, and I did the provisional cast on here. So it's like double thick brim. And then you can see my floats on the inside. My floats were too tight. And I have no idea what I did there. They're a little too tight, so it pulled it a little bit. Throughout the year, though, they've loosened up. The squares didn't really look square because they're so pulled up. And I really love how this fits because the brim is not actually tight, but because it's loose, the floats up here help hold your head in, and these cover your ears, and they're double thick. And so in the winter, this is one of my go-to hats on the really, really cold days. And the poof makes it fun. Makes it so fun. So yeah. We went through a learning to do different crochet phase. So this is the rabbit foot stitch, I think. And I wanted to do like a Ravenclaw, because that's my Harry Potter house scarf. And so it's really long. Unfortunately, I tied in all these ends, and you can see them, and they're starting to come out. And I don't know how to fix that because the yarn's so big that I don't think it's going to stay in. I think I'm going to have to just try putting knots in it so that it stays. I tried to weave in all the ends, and it didn't really work the best at all. So if you have suggestions on how I can fix that, because the ends are all coming out everywhere, and none of them have completely come out yet, but I love it. Nice and warm. And again, I think this is thick and quick, which is a go-to for me for scarves. I didn't realize until just now, but it is. It's big yarn. It crochets up really fast. So that was crocheted. I got into this cowl kick for a while. So I crocheted this, and then I just seam it together. So it's not done in the round. And this is just a little cowl. I think I made a gift for my friend Sarah when she had her bachelorette party, and I made like a hat and a scarf thing, and then I had this cowl, enough left over to make a little cowl, which occasionally I wear when it's really cold. This is one of my go-to teaching people crochet patterns. So it is a headband. That's it. It's crocheted flat. It's mostly double chain, well, the American double crochet, which I think in Britain is triple crochet. I could be wrong. It's the American double crochet, and then you go through the back loop, and it creates this fun textured pattern. Kind of looks like treads on like a tank or something, and then you just seam it together. And that's the inside seam, which kind of looks like the other treads. So if you want to, you can crochet another little strip and then cover this seam and then seam it on the inside so you can't see it, and it creates this little like button. That's a little not masculine enough for me. Not that I really care, but I just don't like the design. But it's just a nice headband. That's all it is. And when somebody tells somebody that they should start a project, it's different if you're going through like a class or something, but if you're just trying to teach somebody and you're just working on a scarf for one of your first projects for crochet or knitting, it takes such a long time. And if you're anything like me, you need to see some progress. So I always recommend people start with coasters, washcloths, headbands as one of the first projects they start with. And then you can get more advanced and work on gloves at some point. These are another pair of my gloves, which are horribly missized. How do you do that? How do you do that? That's how off the size is. A good inch, maybe 2 inches. Again, I was trying to work on some color work. So it's very warm. Totally still usable, both of them. But this one's like huge, huge. I could fit another glove under that. That's the difference. When I was learning to make gloves, I really should make some new ones. But I tend to make stuff for myself first, and then once I figure it out, make it for other people. That's what my go-to is. And the same thing with this gorgeous yarn. Don't remember where I got it, but it was a natural fade. And so you can see how it fades when I put it on like this. I think I held this double. Yeah, I totally did. So this is how it fades. Again, not the same size. Not as notable with these. Just a little bit there. But this is gorgeous. Gorgeous yarn. I should start wearing this more often. And I have a hat that fades with this too that I left at work. I had this and I don't like it. It is like velvet. I made a infinity scarf, and I'm just going to give it to somebody that might like it more than I do. I mean, it'll keep you warm, sure, but I don't like the fabric. I don't like the velvet feeling yarn. It's not for me. If that's your thing, more power to you. I'll give it all to you. I don't really have anything else to buy it because I don't like it. But I need to give this as a gift to somebody. I made this cowl. Obviously, I didn't finish weaving in my ends. Maybe I did and just never trimmed it. I can't remember. I was so excited to finish this, and then I did the wrong bind off. I should have done Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off, but I didn't. It's better now because I've worn it a couple times, but the first few times I had it on, I couldn't even get it like over my face. So this is a nice, I'm trying to get the colors. Cooperate, like, cooperate. It's a nice little cowl. And I don't think I even used a pattern. I just did a 1x1 rib, basic knit stitch all the way down in the round, and a 1x1 rib. And I should have bind off the right way, but I didn't. And one of the last things I have in this box of winter knits, which I need to pack all away now, is my first attempts at learning some brioche. So I made a headband. Because again, you go back to what you know. Start with a headband. So this are some of my first attempts at brioche. It actually turned out really nice. Super squishy. It's actually supposed to be kind of reflective yarn. I love it. I really love it. There you can see the white like that, and then turn it inside out. I love that brioche is inside out. There's the white and the gray. Yeah, it's very warm, but it took me forever to do. I don't know what that is. What is this? Why is that there? Oh, I did one of the wrong stitches. You can definitely tell. So that's why I'm nervous with, I don't know if it's going to be in the mystery knit along, if there's going to be brioche, but I'm a little nervous for that. So yeah, that's me just taking a little trip with y'all down memory lane as I'm learning to knit all these different things. And now I'm working on a Stephen West mystery knit along. I've done a cardigan, you know. Yeah, it's been fun learning all the different techniques. And it's been a very fast journey. I think next year, which sounds, whoa. Next year, there's a couple things. I want to focus more on sweaters, and I want to get sweater knitting, but I also want to revisit most of these. I'd love to reknit gloves, reknit some hats, reknit some stuff after I've learned some techniques, just to get more of a quality product. Like, I don't need to keep gloves that are different sizes, you know, and there's nothing wrong with them. I don't want to also just give them away for no reason. But I have lots of family that has younger kids or other folks that they always need a spare hat. So if they had like a thicker hat, they wouldn't care because keep it in the car, and if somebody needs it, perfect, you know. Actually, I really like this one. But some of my other things, like, I would just like to spend some more time and reknit them now that I know how. I don't want to say I'm ungrateful for the journey, but also I have so much yarn in my stash. I really could use it. I don't need to excuse me. Whew. Gesundheit. I don't need to buy a whole bunch of new yarn to do some of that. And so, yeah, it really makes me think of my stash and using some of it up. And that, I think, wants to be one of my goals for next year. So thank you for taking this journey with me. If you've stuck around, we're almost at 55 minutes. Okay, we should probably wrap this up. Thank you for sticking around. That's where I'm at. I'll be here again in 2 weeks with more information on the first knit along that I'm hosting. I don't have a name for it. If you have suggestions, put those down below. I'd love to read them. Otherwise, thank you for stopping out. I appreciate all of you. I hope you all have a great day, and remember to take care of yourselves. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.